Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Toby Show. I'm your host, Toby. Today's episode is about let's not meet. Well, today's episode is literally creepy encounters. That's what I will title the episode, Creepy Encounters. You guys are all having a good day or night whenever y'all watch this episode or listen to the audio, because I'm multitasking. I got my tablet right here, so let's just get into these creepy stories. So let's get into it. Okay, this first one is titled "Man Chased Me in Parking Lot." Okay, and this is posted in Creepy Encounters, and this is from user pure-bad 7688. Let me turn off my audio because that's, I haven't turned. Okay, so let's get into it. You guys make sure to grab a snack or drink or whatever. Let's get into it. I, female 26, was around 18 years old at the time of this encounter. I still think about it frequently when I'm out late at night by myself, and it's made a huge impact on the way I act in public spaces alone and or with my children. I was heading to my best friend's house. We were stoners then, so she asked me to get Wello's cigar wraps from the gas station. I already had to get gas, so I decided to stop at the gas station about 2 blocks from her neighborhood. I had never felt unsafe there. It was a typical suburban neighborhood with nosy neighbors and kids playing outside often. It was late around 9 p.m. and I pulled up to the gas pumps. The gas station was small, but the parking lot was rather large. The pumps and station were further away from each other than you would expect them to be. The lot was lit up and there was nothing airy about it. Then there was about 6 cars parked out front and a handful of people inside. After pumping gas, I made my way in and got what I needed. As I headed out, I realized everyone was just gone. There wasn't a soul in sight except for the worker behind the cash register. I found it unsettling because the road in front of the station was the main road and often busy. Nonetheless, I headed back to my car. Then I heard it pitter patter as if someone was running, and I remember thinking to myself, who the hell is jogging this late at night? I turned in the direction of the noise. Fight or flight kicked in immediately. A tall, lanky man dressed in flannel, dark pants, sprinting right at me. His hair was dark, and he was so pale that his skin seemed gray. Before I could think of or mutter, my feet were already moving. I didn't look back. I just hauled ass and seemed gray. Before I could think of it or mutter, my feet were already moving. I didn't look back. Okay, I just hauled ass and reached. Okay, I just hauled ass and reached for my handle. Just like a horror film, my doors were locked. I had a shit box of a car, and the only way to unlock it was to insert the key. The fear washed over me as I fiddled to get that GD key into the lock. I looked up for a split second to see he was a foot away from my passenger side, door gearing to around the front of my car to where I stood at the driver's side. I dropped my things and reached for the pump. I could have ran, but fight kicked into overdrive. I was going to use the pump as military filleted to his skull. As he reached the front of my car, he stopped mid-stance as if the world just froze. One arm in the air, one arm to his side, one leg lifted with the other on the side. Oh my God, wait a minute. One leg lifted and the other on the ground. The car had turned until the man and I stared at each other for what seemed like an eternity, but it was merely seconds. As the car parked at the station, he pivoted on his foot and skipped. I didn't mean that metaphorically, that's a big word for me. I mean, he actually skipped like he was frolicking through flowers back into the direction he came from. I didn't waste my time. I grabbed my things, unlocked the car, and drove like a bat out of hell to my best friend's house. When I got there, her mother was sitting on the couch. The look on my face of terror. She asked me, "What's wrong?" I told her I need a minute to go to my best friend's bedroom and told her everything. It spilled out of me like word vomit. She was so stunned to speak at first. We decided to go for a drive to clear my mind and smoke. As we were pulling out of her neighborhood, I instantly spotted him. I pointed and yelled, "There." That was the guy who chased me. He was pushing a large trolley carrying a big-ass metal box down the road into her neighborhood. So I could feel my heart in my ass running all the possibilities of what was in the box, what he was planning to use it for. I haven't seen him since, but that always haunted me. I mean, that's the thing, because you always have to be on the lookout, like you do. Especially, you have to be, you know, what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, your surroundings, okay? Like, you have to, like, you know, always, you know, double check your surroundings, make sure you're good, make sure no one's being sketchy towards you or whatever. A lot of times people don't like to listen to their gut. People like to ignore and be like, "Oh no, I'm just being paranoid." It's like, no, you're not being paranoid. You're listening to your gut. There's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. Wow. Let me look at the comments. Okay. The first comment is, "Wow, extremely scary, and you were extremely lucky." And then someone commented on that. I say the same thing too. Had the car not turn into the parking lot, I can't. Oh, she responds. I can say the same thing too. Had the car not turned into the parking lot, I can't imagine my fate. And then someone comments, "Well, I'm glad you made it out in one piece. If something like that ever happens, I would recommend finding a man and telling him that you're being followed and quietly beg, ask him to act like your boyfriend's significant other. There are many kind of people in the world that are happy to help. They're happy to help. Hope this helps." Well, then someone else responds, In the situation, everything happened so fast." Oh, she responds, blah, blah, blah. "And the situation, everything happened so fast. It wasn't as if the guy was kind. It wasn't, oh my God. In the situation, everything happened so fast. It wasn't as if the guy was kind or just following me or stalking me where I caught him. He quite literally chased me through parking lot when no one was in sight." And then someone responds, "Gotcha. Stay safe." Yeah, the moral of the story, pay attention to your surroundings. Yeah. Because it's like me, okay. There are times I want to go do, you know, events by myself and stuff, but then I'm all iffy and so that's a lot of times I'm like, you know, like for example today, I'm going to watch Scary Movie 6, okay? It comes out, I'm going to fan event, I'm going by myself. It's rare I do these movie dates where I go by myself to watch a movie, but you know what? It's a fan event. I'm going to go get the Scary Movie 6 poster, you know, Yeah, I mean, pick and choose what things to go with people and go by myself. Okay. Now, this other one is very creepy, y'all. Okay, it's titled, and of course, it's from Creepy Encounters. Couple came to my door looking for a stranger. Okay. It's very quick and simple. Okay. And this is coming from user Jazz Slip. Okay, Jazz Slip. Okay. Couple came to my door looking for a stranger. Okay. An older couple, approximately in their 50s and 60s, knocked on my door on a Sunday evening and said that they were looking for their sorest friend and gave me his first name. I told them I didn't know anybody by the name, and I pointed out a couple of the neighbor's house that they might check. When I asked them what address they had to offer to help them, the woman showed me her phone, and it was just a pin on a map at my house. I asked them a couple questions to try to help, and they sounded kind of vague in their answers. They left afterward, but their visit made me uncomfortable. Like, like if they might have been lying. I also noticed that when they left, they drove straight out of the neighborhood. Didn't appear to continue looking for their son's friend in the area. They looked decent, like criminals, and they were driving a newer truck. I'm wondering if they might have been process servers or trying to investigate something in my house or criminals casing. And this person's stays in San Diego. Okay, and yeah, it could be cops. Like, they could be, keeping an eye on the neighborhood, like watching someone. And then this first person comments, this happened to us, a nicely dressed couple at our door at night, saying that their teenager's cell phone showed that he was at our house. They asked about the neighborhood and who lived in the house around us because the kid might be in one of those houses. Red flags everywhere. Yeah, that is definitely red flags. And then someone comments, really? Did anything ever come of it for you? No, we gave them little information. Sympathized with their problem, told them we hope they found their kid and watched them leave. It began to really bother me more in hindsight, seeing too much like casing the neighborhood. Yeah. And then the next person comments, okay, we report this incident to the police so that it doesn't happen to neighbors or anyone else in the area, because this was more like a group of people or pederasts checking your neighborhood for who lives there and etc. Okay. Dang. These are some, I don't know. My thing is this, it's like, I don't know. This kind of reminds me of a story that happened to me like a long ass time ago. I guess I'm gonna give you guys a little mini story time that this kind of remind me of. So I'm 34. Okay, I was a teenager in 2006 to 2011. Anyway, okay, show about like 2009-ish. Okay, so 2009-ish. I was living with my mom and my little brother, and we had these neighbors, and they were always sketchy. Like, people always having the cops calling them, this and that. Anyway, this one day, my mom's at work, and I'm by myself at the house, and someone rings our doorbell, and I'm looking through the peephole, and I see it's a teenage girl my age that I recognized from living over there at the house. And I had a gut feeling telling me not to open that door. So guess what I did? I didn't open the door. I didn't engage at all. Because I was like, this is why you always have to listen to your gut. Because your gut is always telling you, warning you, like, hey, this isn't right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I listened to my gut. Moral of the story, listen to your gut. Yes. And I'm glad I did, because something bad could have happened to me. Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is another one. Of course, it's coming from Creepy Encounters, and it's coming from user HoneyT31, HoneyT111. Okay, someone was pounding at our door at 7 p.m. sharp every day. Hi, I've never been too active on Reddit, but decided to tell a story of a creepy encounter occurrence I had during COVID that pops into my mind often when reading these stories. This happened back in 2020 when I just moved to a new country for my studies, and the world was going back and forth with lockdowns. I lived in an apartment in a family-oriented area with two other girls I met online. Only a couple months of living in this area, we started getting weird visits at our door. One night at 7 p.m., me and my roommates were all in our rooms with our doors open when we heard a pounding at our door. We all convened in the hallway of the house, leading to the front door, all very confused. We are used to the buzzer going off for the downstairs door, but having someone at our front door knocking without needing to be buzzed in caught us all off guard, especially since it was the pandemic. We finally plucked up the courage after a couple seconds to go look at the door, but we all could see through the peephole was an empty hallway. We figured it must be one of the kids living there messing with us. Until a couple of minutes later, we heard again. This time, my roommate quickly checks the peephole and sees a man with dark hair and glasses just staring right back at her. This startled her, and we all ran into one of our rooms and closed the door to figure out what this could be. What this could be. Us being a woman with an unknown man appearing and disappearing again at a door made us very wary. But I decided to go check the doors again if it maybe is a neighbor needing help and we are overreacting. As I check the peephole and see the hallway is empty, I decided to open the door to look further down the hallway. But as I do, I see a trail of spit. Oh my God, ew. I see a trail of spit on the door and a lot of it. This man has spat on a door during COVID that definitely felt smellless. I showed my roommates and we decided to call the landlord, who suggests that we wait until he's back in the country next week to figure out if it is someone in the building. But it happens again, we should call the police. We were spooked, but after that last knock, we didn't hear or see anything, so we went to sleep. The next morning, as we were discussing the night before in the living room, we happened to look out the window and see the same man. At first, we were relieved to finally get a good look at him in daylight. Then we watched him pick up a package that had been left at the door from my roommate and throw it straight into the trash can. We were shell-shocked by the idea that someone in or near this building has such a vendetta against one of us or all of us. We were all very calm people. We did whole parties at the house, and we really respected all of our neighbors, and we were friendly with them. That night, we were already moving on a bit from this. That night, we were already moving on a bit from this, as nothing had happened during the day, and we went on with our routine until it hit 7 p.m. and the pounding on our doors begins again. This same pattern happened for the next days to a week, where he would show up exactly at 7 p.m. like clockwork, pound on the door, leave, return to pound on the door again, and spit on it. After he returned, we of course called police, and they suggested just waiting for our landlord and making a statement through the online tip line to have it on file. But since he wasn't trying to get into the house, they just said to keep the doors locked and not answer it. After a couple days of being scared to be at home, but also to leave the house, our landlord finally paid us a visit. He listened to our story and beeline into our apartment on the first floor to go question all the neighbors. It only took that one visit to learn that the family living below us had an adult son who was receiving schizophrenic psychotic treatment, usually stayed in that facility full time. But he was visiting his family that week, matching up exactly to the day it started. And the neighbors told us they would keep an eye on him and apologized. That's basically all we know about the situation to this day. Not sure if he's had some bad experience with the frat guys living there before us, or if we did something to piss him off. Maybe that was no rationality behind it, but thankfully that all got solved after the conversation and the police involvement was needed. I also want to add that I'm no way trying to frame mental health issues as creepy or spooky. Once we found out what was going on, the situation made a lot more sense, and we didn't hold against him. What felt creepy at the time was being young girls living in a new country during COVID, had like an unfamiliar man repeatedly show up at your door and spit on it. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious that he was dealing with some like mental health stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, and it's also really, really fucked up because he spit on someone's door during COVID. Are you kidding me? And then the first comment is, spitting on the door, especially during COVID, would have freaked me out too. I would also tell the family that if they don't get him under control, you will get the police involved, especially since he took your roommate's package and threw it away. I hope she got it back. And then OP responds, yeah, that shook us a lot. Thankfully, nothing happened after he was told to stop, and she never got the package back. Unfortunately, the trash cans where I live are kind of like trash choo-chees, so you can't go through them. Yeah, that would have pissed me off though too, because I don't play like y'all. I don't play when I order stuff. I would be so angry and pissed. Like, really? I ordered this shit. Really? No. I don't play by my stuff. Okay, so I have 2 more stories, y'all, and then this episode is gonna be over. And the next story, of course, it comes from creepy. I realized, y'all, I found all these from like creepy encounters. So great. Okay. This next one is Creeper in Walmart. Okay. And it's something like, and it comes from user advertising big 7509. Okay. I had an encounter today in Walmart. 2 Hispanic men were walking down the main aisle as I was looking at the clearance clothing in the women's section. One of them walked into the same section as me and said to his friend, "Señor es gordita." I guess a lot of Hispanics don't think your average person understands their language. Guess again, this guy just announced quite finally to his friend, "I'm following this chubby chick." Although, I don't think I'm chubby. As I looked around, I didn't see any other woman in this part of the department. I kept my eye on him as he looked through the bandsuits, etc., as he was texting someone, assuming it was his friend. He went around the corner when I looked at him again, so I followed him. Then I opened my jacket a bit so he could move more easily, see my open carry. He left the area quickly. Tennessee, don't play that. Yeah, she protected herself. And then the first person responds, "Girl, I would have cussed him right back in Spanish. Good for you." Yeah. I would have cussed him out. I would have read him to filth. Okay. All right, and this is the last story. Okay, and of course it comes from like creepy encounters, and it comes from user Poxy XL. Okay, strange man at my house at 3:30 a.m. Okay. I'm female and live alone. I live at the end of a townhouse complex tucked away at the end of the driveway, and instead of a garage, I have a large open carport. My NBN box for internet in Australia. When you connect the internet cable from your router, it's outside on the brick wall and the carport. On the other side of that wall is my bedroom. More importantly, my bed. A few nights ago, at 3:30 a.m., I woke up to a weird sound on the other side of the wall. I went and looked and saw a strange man walking down the driveway. When I went into the carport, the light was on. The PowerPoint was turned off, and the internet cable ripped out, and the port was broken. He said he had taken the cover of the NBN box, and that's what woke me up when he was putting it back on. I'm pretty sure he was looking for a spare key so he could get into my house, because this is a classic spare key hidey hole, and quickly bailed when he realized there wasn't one. Annoyingly, he also broke the internet port, leaving me with no internet for days. I've never been so relieved that I don't have a spare key. Yep. Yeah. At least nothing bad happened to OP. But yeah, that's really creepy. And then I'm gonna read this little comment from the first person. I would suggest you put lights with motion sensor on the wall, maybe on driveway, if possible. It may scare him, and you could be noticed if someone is coming to the house and wait a minute. And then someone else responds and let the police know you're definitely a creeper. When I told them, okay, and LP responds, when I told them, they said they can't do anything because nothing actually happened. And then someone responds to LP, at least you started a trail in the case. At least you started a trail in case there were any other issues. Someone else responds, he damaged your property and trespassed as well. This is just laziness on his behalf to chalk that up as a nothing burger. Tell them you heard him muttering anti-Israel sentiments, and that would be considered a major crime in Australia worthy of police action. All right, well, guys, thank you for watching this episode, and also thank y'all for listening. Please consider, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And if you're listening to audio, please consider subscribing. Please give me a review because I'm back doing the podcast. Have a good day or night whenever y'all listen and watch the episode. Peace.